All right, let's get started right now. Hey, my name is Niger Chambers of Big O Belt Media. Max, it is a pleasure to talk to you about your new film that is taking us below the sea, the place where I never want to go ever. And I don't know why I watched this because I knew it was just going to be very difficult for me. But nonetheless, it was a good film, the new film, The Dive. And talking about this film, I definitely want to start off with where in the world did you get this idea and why did you want to explore it? Because I swear, I keep saying this over and over and over. We got to leave the ocean alone. It's dangerous, but here we are again. But no, it's a fantastic film. I want to be serious about that. I definitely want to start off by how you came up with this idea.
Well, it's based on a Swedish film called Breaking Surface. So this is an adaptation of already existing Swedish film,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean the thing is, I was approached by the production company who had the remake rights of it, and at first, my first response was, "Now, why would I make a remake of a film of an already great existing film? Because usually remakes suck." So
Yeah.
I thought, why would I do that? And then I read the screenplay, and it was about diving, and I did a lot of diving when I was younger. And I thought, wow, okay, this is really interesting. I mean, the opportunity to shoot a film underwater, and it's like a passion of mine who I now can go for the next 2 years for. And yeah, I couldn't decline this. I had to do this.
Yeah.
What an opportunity. I'm just a filmmaker from Berlin, and I'm offered like a film like this, and it's English language, of course. There's a gate opening to the big movie world. So yeah, that was a no-brainer.
And let's pull back the curtains a little bit more because I think a lot of us by the assumption of we throw our iPhone in the water, it breaks, but you got professional film crew and equipment filming underwater. Take us behind the curtains. How exactly do you construct and go about the filming process with this? And could you also talk about the different locations you shot at?
Yeah, sure. So I have to say, filmmaking is difficult enough. Yeah, but shooting film underwater is actually crazy. And I'm of course we were aware that this is going to be difficult, but the obstacles, underwater, it's crazy. But I have to say, it's also the fun, because you're shooting basically in nature. So, and you can't force anything. You just have to go.
Mm,
If the weather is bad, you can't shoot. If the current is too strong, you really have to be zen about it and think, okay, we have to try something else here. And yeah, we shot in a tank in Germany and in the ocean in Malta. So everything you see, like really by the rock, where she's stuck, that's in the tank. Everything else is in the ocean.
okay.
Even the freediving parts, when she's looking for the lost tank.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start. you know, I mean, starting with the communication underwater is super difficult because it doesn't work properly, and then you're down to hand signs, and we had like waterproof storyboards to bring underwater. Okay, we do this now,
Yeah.
next. No, no, where are you swimming? No, come back. But then nobody hears you in the, yeah.
I feel like we truly need a behind the scenes little documentary because I'm just truly fascinated and beyond me trying to get over my own fears about being underwater and what can go wrong will go wrong seems to be the reoccurring theme. I was intrigued for another reason because there was a film last year, Fall, that took us up in elevation. So to see it under the water, I'm like, okay, let's see what this one does special. And I love the fact that you have a cast of two really fantastically work together. Louisa and Sophie just really displayed that bond of sisters way beyond any of the tragicness that could potentially happen or just any of the predicaments that was occurring throughout the film. Just the bond was truly the focal point of this film for me. Knowing that you had these two fantastic actors as your leads here, what was your mindset about that? And did that help you sort of fluctuate where you wanted to go with the story at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, The casting process was really difficult because at first we were looking for actresses who could actually dive, who had a diving experience, but we couldn't find any. So, so because there are just too few, and it didn't work. So this idea, was bad. So we were looking for actresses who were actually crazy enough to do this because they had to train diving, of course. And
Yeah.
Sophie and Louisa, they didn't do any diving in their life before. So, we had to train them from scratch. And so the training started a few months before. And the thing with diving is when, it just can happen that, you go into the water, have one bad experience, even after a week of diving, and then you just click and you say, okay, that's it. I never go again. It's really traumatic. And I was, I was so nervous to get this phone call, so like 2 weeks before the shoot or something. Sorry, Max, but they just, one of them just quit, and
Yeah.
they are in a hospital or something, or they have, I don't know. And then, but they picked it up. They fell in love with diving, which,
Mm.
yeah. And then they started also to fall in love with each other, so to say. They really became sisters. They are best friends now. And all
That's
of this, of course, was super, super, super helpful. Because what they do, I can't emphasize enough how difficult it is to act underwater in those masks. You have to, when you act, panic, it's very close to the real emotion, of course. And when you panic underwater for real, obviously it's kind of dangerous. So we had to make sure that they are on a very, very skilled level of diving. And they did. And yeah, that was actually, I'm so thankful for, I owe them so much. They were real troopers, and they just did it. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, listen, Sophie and Louisa, two badasses. That just has to be said. I just recently watched Louisa's previous film, Maggie Moore, which is a fantastic film as well. So whether you were looking for divers, you end up coming across two gems who rose to the occasion that really, really carried this film. It's something very special again with their relationship in this, and you root for their bond, you root for them to have those moments to really like reconnect. There's some issues going on between, I don't want to give any too much away, but like the fact that like you root for them to resolve everything that's happening between them personally, but also resolve the predicament of being stuck underwater here. But I also think there's another duo that we need to talk about, and it is you and your co-writer here. Talk about coming into this film, having two heads at the table, and truly bringing the brains and making this work.
yeah. So Joachim Heden is the writer and director of Breaking Surface, the Swedish original.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and when I read the screenplay, it was already super solid of the original film. Like I got like the shooting version basically, and it was a page turner. I loved it. It was really, really strong, and I really had, I it was really an obstacle for me to say, okay, why would I do it again? So I had to, come up with my own ideas, and I really wanted to do it. And then, it wasn't that we co-written my screenplay. I did the adaptation, but it's based so much on Breaking Surface, and has so many elements who are very similar
Yeah.
that it's a shared writing credit. But actually, I owe Joachim a lot because it's not only the writing. I called him immediately, and and then he told me all the tricks and all the errors and all the mistakes they did and all the fuck ups they had, and that helped a lot. He said like, you forget this sound system, you do this sound system, go, with this sort of communication, go for those masks. And he helped a lot. He's really a generous, awesome guy, I have to
That is
say.
that is also I swear, like there needs to be a BTS documentary about this. We really need to hear and see all the things that was happening behind the scenes. Seems like a vast amount of knowledge and just a lot of education that folks can take in their filmmaking career. So listen, I just want to just say this last thing before we leave, because again, folks, The Dive, you're going to get a chance to check it out in theaters Friday, August 25th. With this process, with this film, and now getting ready to release, I just want you to leave us off with what's the one thing you truly want the audience to take from watching this film?
You know what? I want to just tell you personally, diving is beautiful. And I actually have a bad feeling if I like induce anxiety and fear of diving with this film. I mean, it is it is a survival thriller, yes. But thus that shouldn't, like, diving is still beautiful. And diving is, most of the time, it's really safe. You don't have to be afraid of diving. It's the best, it's a meditative thing. It's like flying on a different planet. Please do it. Enjoy the film, but don't be afraid of diving afterwards. All right.
All right, I will receive that. A beautiful film, an absolutely beautiful film, as you mentioned. I forgot to mention just the visuals we get of Under the Ocean. It's definitely eye opening and eye catching. But yes, again, The Dive, folks, in theaters August 25th. Max, has been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you so much for your film, your work on this film. I look forward to seeing much more of your work.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.